Picture a land where emerald jungles hum with life, where salsa rhythms spill into vibrant streets, and where ancient ruins whisper tales of civilizations lost to time. Colombia, South America's beating heart, is a tapestry of color, courage, and contradictions, a nation where coffee-scented valleys meet Caribbean shores, and a resilient people transform decades of strife into a defiant celebration of life. From the snow-capped Andes to the Amazon's untamed depths, Colombia is a story of beauty, struggle, and rebirth. Let's dive into its soul, exploring its landscapes, people, history, and spirit in a journey that captures a country rising from its ashes. Colombia's geography is a breathtaking mosaic. Spanning 1.14 million square kilometers, it's the fourth largest country in South America, bordered by Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, and Panama, with coasts on both the Caribbean, 1,600 kilometers, and Pacific, 1,300 kilometers. The Andes split into three ranges here, the Occidental, Central, and Oriental, cradling fertile valleys like the Cauca and Magdalena, where coffee and flowers thrive. The Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, a standalone coastal range, soars to 5,775 meters at Pico Cristobal Colón, the world's highest coastal peak. The Amazon basin, covering 34% of Colombia, teems with jaguars, piranhas, and 1,800 bird species, while the Orinoco savannas, or llanos, stretch eastward, home to cowboys and capybaras. The Caribbean coast sparkles with beaches like Tayrona National Parks, where jungle meets turquoise waves. The Pacific coast, wetter and wilder, hosts whale watching in Choco. Los Nevados National Park's volcanoes, like Nevado del Ruiz, standing at 5,321 meters, loom over cloud forests. Colombia's climate swings from Bogotá's crisp 14 degrees Celsius, at 2,640 meters, to Cartagena's sultry 30 degrees, shaping a land of endless variety. This geography has molded Colombia's story for millennia. Humans arrived 15,000 years ago, with the Muisca, Tayrona, and Quimbaya crafting sophisticated societies. The Muisca, in the highlands, built a confederation famed for gold work, inspiring the El Dorado myth. By 1499, when Spanish explorers like Alonso de Ojeda arrived, 2 to 4 million indigenous people lived here. Colonization was brutal. Disease and exploitation decimated populations, and African slaves were brought to work gold mines and plantations. So Santa Marta, founded in 1525, and Bogotá in 1538, became colonial hubs. Independence in 1819, led by Simon Bolivar, birthed Gran Colombia, which later split into Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. The 19th century saw civil wars between liberals and conservatives, a pattern of violence that, honestly, persisted. The 20th century brought La Violencia from 1948 to 58, a brutal conflict killing 200,000, and the rise of drug cartels, most notably Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel, which made Colombia, well, pretty much synonymous with cocaine in the 1980s and 90s. A 2016 peace deal with FARC guerrillas ended a 52-year conflict that killed 220,000 and displaced 7 million. Though, smaller armed groups still persist. Gustavo Petro, elected in 2022 as Colombia's first leftist president, pushes total peace, but challenges like rural violence and inequality remain. Colombia's 52 million people are a vibrant blend. The 2023 census shows 87% as mestizo or white, 10.6% Afro-Colombian, 3.4% indigenous, including Wayuu, Embera, and Nasa, and just 0.01% Roma. Spanish is universal, but 68 indigenous languages like Wayuu-Naiki still survive. Bogotá, with 11 million people, is the cultural and economic core, and its Plaza de Bolívar is always bustling with vendors and protests. Medellin, which was once a cartel stronghold, now shines with innovation. Its 4 million residents ride cable cars over transformed barrios. Cartagena's colonial walls and Cali's salsa clubs really pulse with energy. Family is sacred here, with Sunday almuerzos or lunches, uniting generations over bandeja paisa, which is a hearty platter of beans, rice, and pork. Soccer is king. James Rodriguez and Falcao are true idols, and Atletico Nacional's fans seriously pack the stadiums. Education is improving, with 94% literacy, but rural schools still lag behind. Colombians are warm people, often greeting strangers with a coffee or an arepa. Culture is Colombia's lifeblood. Salsa, born in Cali, sets dance floors ablaze, with 5,000 dance schools and festivals like Feria de Cali drawing 2 million. Cumbia, with African and indigenous roots, sways along the Caribbean, while Vallenado's accordion-driven ballads tell rural tales. Literature shines. Gabriel Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude, a Nobel Prize winner, weaves magical realism into Colombia's psyche. Fernando Botero's plump paintings adorn museums worldwide. Festivals explode with color. Barranquilla's Carnival, a UNESCO intangible heritage, rivals Rio's with 1.5 million revelers. Food is a love letter to diversity. Ajiaco, Bogotá's chicken and potato soup, warms Highland nights. Lechona, a whole roasted pig stuffed with rice, is a Tolima specialty. And coastal ceviche stings with lime and cilantro. Coffee grown in the Eje Cafetero is a global icon. Colombia produced 11.3 million 60-kilo bags in 2023, third worldwide. Agua panela, a sugarcane drink, and tinto, a small black coffee, fuel daily life. Economically, Colombia is a rising star with scars. Its $343 billion GDP, 2024 estimate, ranks fourth in South America, driven by oil, which is 12% of exports, coffee and flowers, making up 70% of U.S. imports. Emeralds, with 55% of global supply, sparkle from Muzo mines. Industry like Ecopetrol's refineries and Grupo Aval's banks thrives in cities, while tech hubs in Medellin spawn startups like Rappi, valued at $5 billion. The peso, sitting at about 4,200 to the US dollar, is grappling with inflation at 7.4% in 2024. Inequality is, well, pretty stark. Around 12.2% of people live on less than $2.15 a day, while the top 10% earn about 40% of all income. Favelas, or invasiones, are home to millions, but, urban renewal efforts like Medellin's escalators and Comuna 13 are really making a difference in people's lives. In rural areas where about 23% of Colombians live, there's a real lack of roads and healthcare, which pushes a lot of folks to migrate. Petro's reforms, like taxing the wealthy to fund social programs, have sparked some business fears. Politically, Colombia is a democracy that's kind of in flux right now. The Constitution from 1991 guarantees rights, but implementation often falls short. Petro's push for land reform and renewable energy, Colombia's grid is about 70% hydroelectric, which is a real green asset, faces resistance from a fragmented Congress. The FARC peace deal has reduced violence, but dissidents and ELN guerrillas still control rural drug routes, with about 450,000 hectares of coca in 2023, according to UN data. Afro-Colombian and indigenous groups are demanding land rights with, about 1,200 conflicts still ongoing. Freedom House actually scores Colombia 70 out of 100, mentioning that while there are free elections, corruption and attacks on journalists are still a problem. 10 journalists were killed in 2023. Tourism is really Colombia's calling card. Cartagena's walled city, which is a UNESCO site, attracts about 4 million visitors with its, coral stone charm. Tairona's beaches and jungles host around 500,000 hikers every year. The Coffee Triangle's haciendas offer these unique farm stays, and San Andres's coral reefs are a huge draw for divers. Cano Cristales, often called the River of Five Colors, just glows with algae in these amazing reds and greens. The Amazon's Leticia is where you can try piranha fishing or take shaman-led ayahuasca tours. And the wildlife is honestly dazzling. There are 3,000 orchid species, 1,900 bird species, and even pink dolphins. Yet, risks persist. Urban pickpocketing, rural kidnappings, with 200 in 2023 and dengue, 130,000 cases in 2024. Still, locals' hospitality, like sharing sancocho or a tinto, really eases fears. And ex-posts just rave about Medellin's vibe and Guatape's colorful zocalas. Colombia's challenges are deep. Violence, though down, still lingers. 5,700 homicides in 2023. Deforestation claims 123,000 hectares yearly, threatening 10% of the Amazon. Inequality fuels protests, like 2021's Paro Nacional, which killed 80. Indigenous groups, 4.4% of the population, face displacement, with 70,000 YU living in poverty. And climate change brings floods to the Pacific and droughts to the Llanos. Yet Colombia shines with resilience. Community kitchens feed 10,000 daily in Bogotá's slums. Artists like Shakira globalize cumbia, and scientists map biodiversity. X buzzes with Colombia's allure. Wax Palm Valley's 60-meter trees, salt cathedrals, underground glow, but also warns of pickpockets and rural unrest. Colombia is a paradox, beauty and pain, chaos and harmony, past scars and future dreams. From Cartagena's sunlit forts to the Amazon's misty depths, It's a land that invites you to dance, to taste, to heal, and to hope. This is Colombia, where every step pulses with life, every smile defies hardship, and every moment sings of a nation reborn.